Everybody, and welcome back to the channel and to the Ultimate Racing League, sponsored by Eldridge Air Conditioning. Sorry for the slight delay there. I'm just checking that we are actually recording this race. We are with the League 2 drivers. Sorry, I'm bits of paper of it. Right, back to where we are. We're with the League 2 drivers of the Super Formula Series, and we are over in Japan at Mount Fuji. Now we're on the short track. So they call it a short track. It's not that short. It's still 2.8 miles and 14 turns ahead of us. It's just the chicane's just been missed out. So down at the very technical section, when you get to Dunlop Corner, instead of turning right into the chicane, you do turn right at Dunlop Corner. You just don't do another right into the chicane. You just carry straight on and then pick up turns. What are now going to be, you'll see as we go further along. I'm not going to go all about that now. So we'll just crack on, shall we? Have a look down the grid, get these guys going. It's a 50-minute race. We'll explain the rules, tyres, etc. as we go along. So, yeah, quick look down the grid then. So PM10 Racing is on pole position. What a fantastic race he had last week. He'll be looking to repeat that. Actually won by, well, a considerable amount, if I remember rightly. And as I say, I'm sure he'll be looking to do that again. Panic at the Tesco in second. He's no slouch either, so he's going to do everything he can to keep up with PM10. And, well, he'll be looking to win. Well, they all want to win, obviously, but when you've got the likes of PM10 and Panic just ahead of you, it's a bit of a big ask, isn't it? Mohammed, he's third on the grid. Pete is fourth. P. White is fifth. Kian sixth. Rufus is seventh. YT, I'm not going to keep calling him that. It's just how it's spelled. Whitey is 8th. Dandan is 9th. Steele is 10th, with Vane bringing up the rear in 11th. So back up to the top, you can see we've got two lights on. So let's just get the rest of them lit. We shall wait for them to go out and we shall get this race started. It's a 50-minute race, so lots of laps ahead of us. And it looks like not a great start at the back there. For Vane, was it Rufus? Sorry, Rufus didn't get a good start, and Vane and a couple of the others got the drop on him. We will let them also. Oh, lots of people going very wide. Let's have a look and see what's happened here. Now, I think Peter was one of them, so we'll go on board with Peter as we're coming into turn one. Oh, it all got very touchy-feely, didn't it? Grahamid's gone off, P. White's gone off, Peter's gone off. Now then, is that going to be a safety car? As Peter ends up at the back, it doesn't look like it is. No, somebody else has gone off as well. Well, it's all happening now, isn't it? We've not even done two corners. And it's all kicking off as Vane gets onto the grass and kicks up a bit of dirt. Wow, let's go up to the front and see what's happening there. Are they still racing? Yeah, PM10 has said, I'm not getting involved in any of that. I'm off. And he's already took the lead then. Panic in second. Kian moved up to third in amongst all the chaos. He's had a fantastic start as Kian is now up into third. He's on the soft tyres. YT in fourth, putting a challenge in against Kian as they come around turn 12, well, what is now turn 12, as they just complete the most technical part of this track. Into turn 13 and 14 at Panasonic, and a back round onto the straight. Oh, as YT goes a little bit wide and the back end started to get squirrely on him, but he managed to hold on to it. Mohammed, who started, well, he started third on the grid, didn't he? Now putting a challenge in on YT as they come down towards turn one, across the start-finish line. It is Kian in third. Muhammad Ali has just done the move on YT and has moved up into fourth. Don't think he's going to get close enough, is he, to Kian? No, but Grahamid holds on to fourth, but YT fighting back. Dandan up to sixth. Then we've got P. White in seventh, with Steele in eighth. Pete just making the move on Rufus there to go up into ninth, but Rufus fighting him back as they come towards turn 3 at Coca-Cola. Oh, as Peter goes very wide, gets himself back on track and holds on to 8th. Oh, Peter's picked up half a second, yeah, for crossing those crossing the lines there. Rufus tried to make the move but couldn't get the car slowed down enough. Pete moves back up into 9th, but carrying that half a second. It is all kicking off at the minute, isn't it? Rufus down in 10th with Vane in 11th. It is mid-pack that seems to be where it's all happening. So let's just join at with Dan in 6th. Bit of a gap now back to him, to P. White. Then, as I say, we've got Pete. He's carrying half a second. Steele in 9th. Rufus 10th and Vane in 11th. Back up to the top though, and PM10 doing exactly what he did last week, and that is get himself in front and start to run away. Close my laptop down, I don't need it anymore. So yeah, PM10 showing his intent, setting his stall out very early on the medium tyres. Now then, all 3 compound tyres have to be used. That's the softs, mediums and hards, unless we get any wet stuff falling. Myself and the crowd are all praying for it, but the drivers obviously don't want it, as PM10 already puts in the fastest lap of 1:19.4, but I'm sure that's going to come down. Panic at the Tesco, also on the medium tyres in 2nd, so these two will be looking to break away. Grahamid back up into 3rd where he started on the grid, so a bit of a shaky couple of laps for Grahamid, but things have settled down now, and that red Ferrari is back where he started. He's on the soft tyres, so he needs to make the most of them. He really needs to catch up to Panic and PM10 up ahead, but more important, I think he needs to open up a gap back to the guys behind. It's going to be a tough ask, as Kian is also on the racing soft tyres for this first stint. Then we've got YT, he was also on the softs, and these guys started to open up a bit of a gap now to the guys behind as YT tries to get into the slipstream. Kian looking to try and break the toe as they come down towards turn 1, and I think he's managed to hold it on to P4. YT's not really going to make a move there, is he? So into turn 1 at first corner, simply called. The Japanese not great at naming racetrack corners. Through turn 2, then they go into the left-hander at Coca-Cola at turn 3, into turn 4 and 5, which is 100R. And for those that don't know, it is called 100R because of the 100-metre radius of the turn. Into then turn 6, the hairpin. That is obvious why it's called a hairpin. Through turn 7 and 8, and then down onto turn 9, which is 300R. You can pretty much guess why it's called 300R. Then he brings us down towards turn 10 at Dunlop Corner. Now this is where the chicane would normally be. You would normally carry on turning right, but these guys don't. They carry on through to turn now 12, 13, and then back on to turn 14 at Panasonic. Kian in 5th, then Dan in 6th. He's got a 1 second penalty, so P White will have a bit of a smile on his face. In the dual sponsored car is P White, as Dan serves his penalty. And if you're not sure what I'm on about, let's get a look at this car. So we've got the Lucky Strike on one side, and then we've got the 555. I'm not sure what the logo, it is the Subaru, isn't it? The Rally logo, livery. I'm not sure what it's actually called. Is it 555? I'm not sure. But yeah, 555 on one side, Lucky Strike on the other. Couldn't quite make his mind up what team they were. But P White now move up into 6th on the hard tyres as well. So having a good race so far is P White. Dan also on the hard tyres, sitting in 7th. Steele, he's on the softs, trying his best to hold Rufus and Vane at bay, keeping them at bay. Oh, Steele, where's he going? Excuse me, come back. The track is the grey stuff, not the green stuff. You're in the wrong car for that. You need the Integrale series if you're going to go across the grass. But Steele, after that moment, has dropped down now to 10th, behind Vane and Rufus. Rufus on the hard tyres, getting that move done, and up to 8th now, and he's on the chase after Dan, with Vane, Steele, and then Pete down in 11. Poor old Pete, not a great start for him on the racing softs as well, but quite a lot to catch up. Now then, there is quite a gap actually between Dan and P White. Oh, Dan put in a move on P White. It's Kian, sorry, the gap is between Dan and Kian, but Dan a great move as they get down towards turn 1 to take P6 away from P White, but P White will fight back, so Dan can't relax at the minute. Let's go back up and see what's happening up at the sharp end, and PM10 just maintaining that gap between himself and Panic at the Tesco. Still holding on to the fastest lap as well is PM10 at 119.4. Panic at the Tesco not that far behind him actually, a 119.8. So not a great deal in it. His last lap, that was his fastest lap, was his last lap, lap 5, 119.8, and PM10 got his fastest lap. So they evenly match those two at the minute, so the gap is just being maintained at the minute. Panic at the Tesco just out of the slipstream, I think. Same with Grahamid in third. His fastest lap is 120.1, so just a little bit, about 6/10 off the pace, 6 or 7 tenths off the pace of the two guys just ahead of him, but that's not much. And just holding on to P3 at the minute is Grahamid, but that front left tyre has taken a bit of a pasting, hasn't it? And we're only on lap 7, so Grahamid may be thinking about coming in and making a stop pretty soon. Just over half a tank of fuel. Now they do have the overtake button. Talking of fuel, they do have the overtake button, which gives them a bit of a boost. I think it's just very similar to the DRS system on an F1 car. It just gives you a bit of boost if you press that button. So the guys will be picking their moments as when to use it. I don't think you can use it on the first 2 laps, but it can be used there on after. YT in 4th. Hard to concentrate really when there's nobody else around you. You just got to sort of do your own race, and you can see that YT is under no pressure whatsoever, so he's not really being pushed along. So as I say, very difficult to concentrate. Kian in 5th. So all the soft runners are all up there in amongst them. The 2 leaders, however, it just shows how quick they are. They're both on mediums, but then you've got Grahamid, YT and Kian all on soft tyres. Dan, the higher placed hard tyre runner at the minute, sitting in P6 with P White challenging him also on the hard tyres. So P White just about in the slipstream, and should catch up to the back of Dan as they hit turn 1 at first corner, but not close enough to make a move on him, so he's just going to sit there in the slipstream. It does help sometimes, it helps with your fuel usage if you can sit in the slipstream of the car in front. So a bit of a battle brewing between these two. Rufus in 8 on the hard tyres. Obviously got the mediums and the soft tyres to look forward to as he goes around 100R on his own. Then we've got Vane in 9th with Pete in 10th. He's made up 1 spot at least, with Steele down in 11th, so maybe Steele has had a bit of a moment because he's dropped off the back of Pete by quite a bit actually. But some of these guys still getting used to this car. It is a very tricky machine to handle. It is a fantastic machine once you do get to grips with it, but the initial starting out can be a bit daunting. It's got so much grip, and it's hard to get your head around, but the faster you go, the more grip you have. Sound like I know what I'm talking about, don't I? Up there, out in front then is PM10, still leading this race on the medium tyres, and maintaining the gap back to Panic at the Tesco. So maybe these two are on the same strategy. Be interested to see when the pits do open and the guys will start diving in. Now I think it may be the tyres that force Grahamid in. He's got just under half a tank of fuel left, but the front left tyre on that Ferrari is looking very sorry for itself, and he will start to feel that now. He will start to lose a bit of grip and a little bit of time. You see lap 8 was a 121.0, so did lose a little bit on lap 8. YT looking after his tyres just a little bit better actually, but he is going slightly slower. He's been, well, 120s, the last couple of laps have been in the 121, so slightly slower, but he is looking after the tyres better. Kian in 5th, well, his front left looks very sorry for itself. Bit of a mixed bag as well for lap times for Kian. Last lap was 123.6. Well, that's more like it. That was a 1:22.4, so he's knocked himself well over a second off of his previous lap. So Kian now starting to pick up the pace, although the tyres are going to start giving him some trouble now, that front left. So Kian will be thinking about a pit stop pretty soon. P. White, plenty of fuel, plenty of tyre left, so he's probably got another 2 or 3 laps left in that fuel tank, sitting in 6th at the minute, with Dan not that far behind him, pretty much the same as well. Rupert's still sitting in 8th. Everybody's starting to spread out a little bit now, so we will do a lap with one of the guys, just to show you this track from a driver's point of view. And a little bit of information about this track. Obviously it's in Japan, it's in the foothills of Mount Fuji, and as you're coming around, when you're in the car, as you come around the hairpin turn and then through 100R on the hairpin, you can get a good old view of Mount Fuji in the distance, so we'll see that as we go around. The track itself is part of the main track. The main track opened in the 1960s. This part of the track, the short track, was opened in around about 1965-ish, something like that, after a bit of a refurb. So there's 2 tracks. The main one is the one that gets used, though. This not very often. Very easy to forget as well as you come around turn 10 at Dunlop Corner that there is no chicane, and you do carry on turning right. So it's a bit of a tricky one. The elevation change on this is only 40 metres, so not a massive elevation change. It is pretty flat. And as I've said previously, there was 14 turns on this 2.8 mile circuit here at Fuji. As we see, Steele in 10th, coming under attack from Vane in 11th as they hit the first corner. So Vane looking to get that P10 away from Steele. Vane on the medium tyres, Steele on the soft, so Steele should have the advantage going through the turns. Looked after those tyres well, actually. Talking of tyres, let's have a look to see how Grahamid's getting on, because his front left is really looking battered now. Whitey does look like he's getting a little bit closer. Shall we go on board? I'll tell you what, let's go on board with Whitey, shall we? We said we'd do a lap, so we're going to do a lap with that. And I think I said it last week. Why make the front of the halo invisible if you're going to leave the aerial in the way? You still can't see where you're going. But anyway, into turn 1 we go. Aptly named first corner. Hard onto the brakes, back on the power as early as you can, using every inch of the track. Then it's up through turn 2, and then into turn 3, this left-hander, which is Coca-Cola. Immediately into turn 4 and 5 at 100R. So much grip in these cars. Up into turn 6, the hairpin, the left-handed hairpin. Then down through turn 7 and 8. Into turn 9, which is 300R. Just approaching it now, under the Dunlop Bridge into Dunlop Corner, and this is the bit where you would normally turn sharp right there into the chicane, but we don't. We carry on through into turn 11, which is now turn 11, up through turn 12, again back on the brakes, being careful with that noisy pedal. Then into turn 13 and 14 at Panasonic, and then we are back onto this long straight, 1,475 metres of it from the exit of turn 14 to the entry into turn 1. So it is a very, very long straight. Really use the slipstream if you are close enough. Whitey not quite close enough to Grahamid this time. Nobody behind him. So that was a lap then with Whitey of Fuji in Japan. And Whitey currently sitting in 4th. Now we are expecting people into the pits very shortly. I'm just having a look at the fuel on some of these cars. Dan, well, he's doing okay for fuel actually, just under a quarter of a tank. Rufus a little bit less, so maybe he's going to be looking at pitting within the next lap or 2. Same with Steele. So a lot of the guys are all going to be coming in about the same time. It looks like Kian has already pitted as oh dear, what happened there, Kian? I think he's coming. Yeah, Kian has already made a pit stop, and he's out on some fresh medium tyres with a full tank of fuel. Now then, where was it? He's got it wrong here. Is it up towards turn 13 and 14? Well, it was the final turn. Did he go a little bit too far to the left onto that? Yeah, onto the AstroTurf stuff. and that slung the car around, and a bit of a scrape with Barrier, but nothing too dramatic. He's not picked up any damage. Could have been a lot worse for Kian, but he's down in 11th, having made that stop. But the guys ahead of him have all yet to stop, so he'll be looking at making some places up when they do decide to come in. PM10, he's staying out this lap. He's got at least one more out of that tank, as Tesco thinks as well. Although the fuel light is flashing for panic, he doesn't want to take the risk. I thought he might have come in to try and get the undercut, but he's not. He's decided to stay out and follow PM10. Grahamid, the fuel light on him as well. He's not even thinking about the undercut. Strategy is so important in this race. If you know, most of the guys I think will be looking at a 2-stop. You could possibly do a 3-stop and have 2 stints on the soft tyres, but you're in the pit a long while, so I'm pretty sure most of the guys will be going for the 2-stop. And Grahamid really pushing that Ferrari to its limits. The front left tyre is absolutely crying at the minute. The fuel light is flashing. The steering wheel in the cockpit must be lit up like a Christmas tree, with all the sensors on these cars telling him the tyre's about to blow, the fuel's about to run out. But Grahamid, being the true Scotsman he is just gritting his teeth and saying, get on with it. He will be coming in at the end of this lap though, as will, I'm sure, a few of the guys behind him. YT has also got to make the stop, and there we go. First in is, well, not first because Kian was first, but first of the leaders in is PM10. He's in. Panic at the Tesco also in on barely any fuel at all. Grahamid, he'll be following him in, same as YT. So lap 14, it's going to get very busy in that pit lane. Of course, YT gets a little bit twitchy there. So YT in. Dan is also going to be coming in. So everybody looks like he's going to be coming into the pit. It is Kian who's made the pit stop early. He's not. Now he's coming in 8th, carrying half a second penalty, which absolutely means nothing in these cars, because they are so quick off the line that half a second is just a blink and you're back up to speed again. So Kian will be looking to jump some of the guys, I'm sure, ahead of him that are in the pits. So let's just keep an eye on Kian as we're coming around this final section of the track. You can see he's going to be forced to serve his penalty. PM10 is out. Panic at the Tesco is out. Grahamid Ali is out. But let's just see where Kian can make up a couple of places with guys in the pits. So he moves up to 7th. Dan, Steele, they're both in there. So yeah, Kian up to 5th now, having made that earlier stop. So the undercut sort of worked for Kian, didn't it? The guys ahead of him though have all pitted as well. So YT back out in 4th. Grahamid 3rd. Panic at the Tesco 2nd, with PMT still leading. BYT 6th, just behind Kian. Then we've got Dan, Rufus, Steele and Vane still in the pits, and Pete. Well, Pete's made a stop, so he can carry on through and across the start-finish line. But you can just see PM10 behind him, so lap 15, and Pete has already got his race leader in the mirrors. Just shows how quick PM10 is. So PM10 now out on the soft tyres, so we should start to see that fastest lap come down. It's a 118.8 now, and I think that's going to get even quicker. Now he's on the soft tyres. Panic at the Tesco using the same strategy. He's come out on the soft tyres, but I think the gap has increased between the two of them. Grahamid, well, I'm not quite sure, it must have been a really bad pit stop, but Grahamid, there is quite a gap between the two guys ahead of him. He's currently in 3rd, so he'll be pleased with that. He's got YT not that far behind him actually. But then, so the battle really is going to be on, I think, for the 3rd place on the podium. At the minute held by Grahamid Ali, but YT really would like to get himself up there and have a bit of a sip of champagne. As far as the win goes, well, I don't think there's much of a bet to be had here. I think it's 50p. He's definitely going to go on PM10 again. Shown his class last week, certainly set his stall out very early this time around, and he's streaking off into the lead, so I think it's a pretty safe bet. Panic at the Tesco as well is a pretty safe bet for second on the podium at the minute. Still a fair way to go. We've still got till what, 27.5 minutes of this race left, but I think P1 and 2 are pretty much secured. The battle is on now for P3, held currently by Muhammad Ali, trying to fend off YT. Muhammad Ali on the hard tyres, YT on the mediums, so he should have the better grip through the corners, but Muhammad Ali doing an absolute fantastic job on those hard tyres. We'll just drop down the order a little bit. Kian in 5th, all on his lonesome. He's got nobody to play with at the minute. P White in 6th. He's got Dan in his rear view mirror, so Dan doing a bit of chasing. Shall we jump on board with Dan, shall we? As we've gone around turn 1 and we're chasing P White down. Dan on the medium tyres. It does. He's getting closer, doesn't it? Ooh, keep it on the grey bit. Dan. Quick look behind us, and Rufus is not that far away, so Rufus will be pushing hard. He wants to get involved in this little battle, and he's hoping that P White and Dan do get into a battle, because that will slow them down enough for Rufus to catch up. At the minute there is a bit of a gap there, so no real concern for Dan. He can concentrate on what's happening in front of him, as P White looked like he was going to lose the back end then, but managed to save it as we're coming up through turn 12 and 13. A quick look now. Rufus definitely gaining, especially through the turn, so we'll have a look and see what tyres Rufus is on. Oh, it's Dan. I thought he'd lost it. He'd managed to catch it, but that's cost him the battle with P White and has actually put him into the clutches of Rufus, and you can see Rufus now using that slipstream and absolutely flies by. So a mistake from Dan there as he came out of Panasonic at turn 14 has cost him and has actually dropped him down a place. Rufus takes full advantage, although he goes very wide. Oh, and there's collision. There is contact, but they are both still running. Now we'll get out of here so we can see what's happening. No damage picked up from Dan and Rufus. They both got away with that. Rufus has picked up half a second penalty. He will be furious, having made that move on Dan after Dan's mistake at turn 14, then another one between the two of them as they came around the turn 5. But Dan's currently in 8th and Rufus in 7th, but poor old Rufus picked up that 1 second penalty, so Dan should move back up into P7 and can get on after P White again. P White, I'm sure, will be having a bit of a giggle to himself seeing these two battling away. So we'll just follow Rufus through as he serves his penalty. So brakes on for Rufus, and the momentum of Dan should carry him through, and there we go. Dan, easy overtake for him. Says thank you very much and gives Rufus a wave as he goes past. See what's happening elsewhere. Steele in 9th with Pete just behind him in 10th. Not really a battle taking place at the minute, with Vane in 11th. Just needs to push that little bit just to catch up to the back of the two guys ahead of him, so he can get involved in a bit of a battle there. We'll have a look up at the pointy end, shall we? And you can see PM10 and the gap between himself and Panic at the Tesco as PM10 comes towards first turn or first corner around safely on those soft tyres. He can afford to look after them. Panic at the Tesco, same with him. Maybe he's thinking he doesn't want to push too hard. He wants to look after his tyres and fuel. He's quite happy with P2 at the minute. Muhammad Ali still in 3rd with YT. Well, why has YT got YT? What has happened to him? Did he have a... Oh, he did. He did. I was going to say, did he have a moment? Oh, we're not gone back far enough. Oh, come on. So he makes the move on Muhammad. He gets himself in front. We missed that bit, didn't we? But then, oh, he goes very wide onto the AstroTurf, and then it's good night Vienna. Big old kiss with Barrier. well, having made the move on Grahamid and got himself up into P3, just couldn't hold on to it coming out of turn 1. Look at the state of them tyres. So he's got to get them cleaned up. Grahamid would have big sigh of relief coming from him. He's now free to continue on in P3, and well, he's not got to defend it, has he? He's just got to make it to the end of the race, because it's going to be a big ask now for YT to catch up. Look at the gap between the two of them after that big off. So YT still in 4th and looking comfortable for 4th, but he doesn't want many more mistakes like that, does he? We're following Kian as he gets a couple of wheels onto the grass. In 5th on those medium tyres. P White just behind him, also on the mediums. Just got to keep it nice and smooth through here. Let the guys in front make the mistakes. And I think that's what P White is trying to do. He's just trying to make his presence felt and try and force a mistake from Kian. Dan in 7th. Now then, is he in the slipstream of P White as they come down this very, very, very long, almost runway of a straight, heading down towards turn 1. Dan not close enough to make a move on P White, as they both go very safely through turn 1 then. So Dan again just putting the pressure on P White, trying to force a mistake from him and not make any himself as he does there. He just picked up a 1-second penalty for track limits, so that's unfortunate for Dan. P White would have seen that in the mirrors. He would have been told as well by his race director, all he's got to do is keep it on the grey stuff, keep it going straight, and he can actually start to open up a gap then between himself and Dan, and then concentrate on Kian just ahead of him. So Dan with a 1-second penalty. Down in 8th is Rufus. Soft tyres, well, they're okay at the minute, around about 40%. Wear on the tyres of Rufus, we've got just coming up to 28 minutes, so 22 minutes to go of this race. With Steele and Peter having a proper battle, aren't they? Peter through to P9, although it doesn't look like he's carrying a penalty. He is half a second, and they're being lapped by PM10. This could get very messy, couldn't it? Where is PM10? In fact, let's just go on board with PM10. There he is. He's in between the two of them, and he could use one of them as a bit of slipstream in here. Yeah, Peter's going to slow down. And you can see PM10 very clever there. Used the slipstream of Peter before he had to serve that penalty, and PM10 then goes through and under the blue flag to continue his race. Panic at the Tesco in 2nd. He's going to have to try and get by the two guys in front of him, as Steele looks like he made a bit of a error at turn 1. So let's see if Panic at the Tesco can get by the two guys in front of him. Really, they should just should be pulling over, well, not to a stop, but just move over to the side of the track, off the racing line, and let Panic through as he gets a little bit closer. But don't forget that both Steele and P are in a battle themselves. So neither of them really want to lose any time on the track, but they've also got to be conscious of Panic coming up behind them. Steele pushing hard to try and get P9 away from Peter, but I think the wise thing to do here from oh, there you go, brilliant work from Steele, well done to him. Steele just went very, very wide into coming out of turn 12 and 13 and allowed Panic through. That was good racing from Steele. In fact, even better racing from Steele, because he can pick up a bit of slipstream from Panic at the Tesco, which will help him get even closer to Peter. So some very, very clever driving from Steele there. Knew exactly what he was doing. Yeah, well done to him. And now it's Pete's turn to move out of Panic's way. Panic has got to catch up to the back of him first, though. All the while, why he's not, PM10 is going further and further away. So let's see what's happening elsewhere, shall we? In third is Grahamid, and that is quite a gap actually between Grahamid and Panic at the Tesco, but Grahamid likewise has got a massive gap between himself and Kian. It is almost the full length of the start finish straight, just short of 1500 meters of it. So Grahamid looking, well, very comfortable for a sip of champagne on the podium with the two guys ahead of him at the end of this race. Kian into the pits then, so we have somebody else diving into the pits, and it's fuel that's forced Kian in. Maybe could have got one more lap out of that tank, but he's decided enough is enough and he's coming in. We will probably start to see some of the other guys coming in as well now, as we see P White in fourth, Dan in fifth. Let's see if we can find somebody to have a battle with. There we go, it is Rufus and YT. So YT dropped down to sixth. He was having a good old fight, wasn't he, with Grahamid, keeping up with him, and then he had that almighty disaster at turn 14, which really dropped him down the orders, and now he's got Rufus all over the back of him. Whitey on the mediums, Rufus on the softs. Not got a lot of life left in those tyres, so Rufus, if he wants to get the move done on YT, really needs to start pushing now to get himself ahead as YT goes onto the grass and kicks up a bit of dirt just to try and unnerve Rufus. Rufus will be having none of that though, and his concentration will be fully fixed on the rear end of YT's car before he has to come into the pits to change those tyres again. Great shot of the mountain in the background, but I'm sure the drivers, not one of them have even seen that mountain in the 23 laps they've done around here. As Rufus tries to catch up to the back of YT, get into the slipstream, use those tyres that he's got, the better compound tyres. Can't quite get close enough at the minute, so YT doing a good job actually of keeping Rufus at a certain distance. Let's go down and have a look. Pete, so Panic has managed to get by Pete. Pete in 8th, and he's opened up a gap back to Steele. Kian down in 10th, but having made a pit stop, he's going for the undercut, isn't he? Coming in early, out on the hard tyres with 17 minutes to go. So he's going to look and see if he can make those tyres and fuel tank last to the end of the race. So Kian in 10th then, but as I say, the guys ahead of him have all yet to pit, as he may have picked up a penalty there, going very wide through turn 3 at the exit of Coca-Cola, but it looks like he got away with it. And then Vane down in 11th. I do like the livery on that car. Well, let's have a look at it, shall we? There's some good work gone into that. I do like that. So whoever's responsible for that, if it's Vane himself, well done. But yeah, very nice looking car. And the blue flags are back out again, so that must be for well, I thought it was PM10, but I don't think it is. PM10 is, right, this is where it gets very confusing now, because PM10 is actually starting to lap everybody. I think he's got P7, yes he has. He's got Rufus in front of him, so PM10 has managed to get by most people, and he's up to the guy in 7th. And we're on lap 26 with 15 and a half minutes to go. So PM10 making it look very easy, isn't he? Penalty free, nice and smooth, that's how you do it. Grahamid into the pits then in P3. Let's have a look, where is P White? Now then, P White will probably stay out, and he may even leapfrog Grahamid and get himself up into 3rd, but it will only be short-lived, because P White has got to come in as well. You can just see the fuel, if you look at the left hand side, you can see the fuel going into Grahamid's car as he drops down the order, as P White goes through and moves up into 3rd. Dan moves up into 4th, YT into 5th. Grahamid just been released now. Excuse me. Rejoins in P6. just behind YT, Dan and P White, but those guys have yet to pit, and they're going to be pitting over the next couple of laps. Panic at the Tesco, he's going to have to pit soon for tyres, same as PM10. So all of the guys ahead of Grahamid have got to make the pit stop, so I'm sure Grahamid is not too worried at the minute. He has got the blue flags out, so what could be the guy on the third step of the podium is just about to be lapped by the guy who's going to get the top step of the podium. It just shows how quick PM10 is, but like I say, PM10 has got to come into the pit, so Graham will unlap himself anyway. So again, like I say, Grahamid is not going to be too concerned with his track position at the minute. We can see the two guys battling ahead of him. That is Vane and where it was. Let me just go down. It is Kean and Vane, or Vane. Oh, Vane and YT. See, they're all over the place. This is where it gets very confusing. We've got 5th just ahead of 11th, who is just ahead of 6th. Kean in 10th. Well, he's all on his own at the minute, isn't he? He really has got nobody to play with. He has made his final stop though. And as I've said before, when the guys come into the pits, as they are now, so our race leader PM10 is into the pits. Now then, Panic at the Tesco has stayed out. So he's going to do one more lap on the racing softs. He has stayed out. He's really hoping for a good in-lap as the fuel goes into the car for PM10, but Panic at the Tesco's got to make a stop. So PM10 now out on some racing hard tyres. Panic at the Tesco, current leader of this race, will have to come in at the end of this lap. Same as P White. Dan, he's not going to be far behind. So is YT. Then we've got Grahamid having made his final stop and is out on the medium tyres. It is all going to get very confusing. We've got 6th just about to overtake 11th, who is staring at the back of 5th. I'm confused if you're not. So there we go, P White into the pits then. So YT and Grahamid, if they stay, well, Grahamid's going to stay out, definitely. YT is staying out. So they will leapfrog over P White, who is dropping down the order now. Panic at the Tesco has finally decided to come into the pit. So where is PM10? PM10 is just coming around turn 12 into turn 13. So he'll be coming around the final turn and onto the start-finish straight any second now. Just keep your eye on the top left of that little table just to see if the fuel's going in. It is. The fuel is starting to go into the fuel tank of Panic at the Tesco. PM10 is going to cross the start finish line about now. Where is Panic going to come out? Is PM10 going to get the lead back of this race? The fuel is finished and he has been released. This is going to be very, very tight as Panic at the Tesco comes out and PM10 just goes through. So PM10 just manages to get himself ahead of Panic at the Tesco, but the gap is a lot closer now. PM10 is out on hard tyres, Panic at the Tesco on hard tyres, but they are a lap older and should be up to temperature, or not far off anyway. So a race is on now to the end as PM10 desperately tries to get away from Panic. Panic can really start to push now. PM10 fastest man on track with a 1:18.5, which he got, well, quite a while ago actually, when he was on the soft tyres. So now we have a good race for the last 10 minutes or so. Grahamid sitting in third now. He's managed to leapfrog Dan and YT as they come into the pits, as it was always going to be. So Grahamid back up into third. So YT in the pits. Fuel just started to go in. Same with Dan. Fuel just started to go in. Where is P White? Has P White managed to get through? Yes, he has. So P White now moves up into fourth. He's on the soft tyres as well. And he should have enough fuel to the end of the race. So P White could be looking good for a fourth place here. Dan. Same with him. He's got enough fuel and he's on the soft tyres. So maybe he's looking at fifth. YT back out on hard tyres for the final stint. Steele, he's into the pits now. Pete in ninth. He should move up into eighth. Yes, he has. While Steele is still in the pits. Just been released now is Steele, but joins back out in P9, just behind Pete. Kean in the meantime has made his way up into seventh. He should just about finish the end of this race on these tyres and fuel. Rufus made his final stop now. He's back out on the medium tyres, but a bit of a gap between himself and Steele, so a bit of catching up for Rufus to do. And then Vane. Where's Vane? There, oh, there he is. He's out there on the left. He's doing donuts. He's showing off to the crowd, is Vane. Just around turn 14. And decided to do a few donuts just to entertain the crowd that's out there. And hey, why not? Oh, and he's into the pits as well, which is going to put him even further down. So back up to the pointy end, and it is PM10 leading this race ahead of Panic at the Tesco, and it looks like the gap has opened up between the two of them again. They do have a back marker in between the two of them, I think. No, we don't. We just have PM10 just about to approach a back marker. So, and it is YT in 6th position. So let's see if PM10 can get by YT very quickly, because if he can't, then Panic at the Tesco is going to be right up his jacksie before he knows it. Great racing from YT there. Went very, very wide in turn 4 and 5 to let PM10 through. Very sensible racing, and well done to YT for that. Can he do the same for Panic at the Tesco, or is he going to hold him up? I'm sure he won't. I'm sure YT, if he moved over like that for PM10, he's going to move out of the way for Panic as well. We'll come on board with Panic as we start to approach the back of YT. In fact, it may even be done at on the start-finish line. Start-finish straight, sorry. We can just see PM10 up ahead in front of YT. Now then, YT will probably just pick one side of the track or the other, and Panic at the Tesco, well, if he's got any sense, he's going to use a bit of slipstreaming from YT. YT moves over to let Panic through, but Panic says, no, you keep going, my friend. I'm going to use the slipstream to try and get me a little bit closer to PM10. Now he can get the move done. Oh, he decides to go around the outside. I think YT wasn't quite sure what Panic wanted to do there, so just positioned himself somewhere in the middle and let Panic pick the line. Did use the slipstream caused from YT's car, and may have got him slightly closer to PM10. Not close enough to put him under any pressure, and I'm not sure he's in the slipstream at the minute, but he's going to give it everything, isn't he, Panic, to try and get the win. We'll come out of there and let's see how Graham is doing in that Ferrari. Still in third, well, by a long way, isn't he? So I think he's got the podium position pretty much sewn up. I'm calling it a Ferrari. It's not a Ferrari, it's the Ferrari livery. I know it's not a Ferrari, you know it's not a Ferrari, it is just looks like one. Before anybody starts writing any silly comments. Be White in 4th then. Now then, let's have a look. Where is Dandan? Oh, I was hoping we could see him from that shot there, but there is a bit of a disc. There we go. So there's a good gap between the two, a good bit of breathing space for P White. Just needs to concentrate on what he's doing, and he's looking good for a 4th place. We are 6 minutes left into this race. Dandan in 5th, so another, what, 4 laps maybe for Dandan to catch up to the back of P White. YT down in 6th, had a fantastic start to the race, didn't he? And had that bit of an incident which started to drop him down the order. And well, he's done well to recover and get back up into 6th. Ian in 7th. A bit lonely for Kian, but he's going to push hard, I'm sure, to try and catch up to the back of YT. Then we've got Steele. Peter into the pits. Pete currently sitting in 10th. Rufus is in 9th. Well, I'm not so sure Rufus is going to catch up to the back of Pete. No, Pete is released. Oh, and he's picked up 3 seconds. That will be for cutting the pit lane, either the entry or the exit. Oh, and he's picked up another 3. Oh, 6 seconds. he's going to have time to get out and have a look around the car, make sure all the tyres are okay, as he goes very wide again. What is happening to Pete? What tyres is he on? He's on wets or what? No, he's on hard. It's the grey stuff, Pete. Come on, the tarmac, stay on that. 6 seconds, that is an ouch. As I say, when he serves that penalty, he's going to have time to get out and have a look round. Maybe take a picture of the mountain, Pete, when you're parked up. But 6 seconds is that's punishing. Really struggling on the hard tyres is Pete to keep it on the tarmac. So around turn 12 then, let's just see what happens when he serves his penalty, unless he picks any more. He's gone very wide again, really is abusing these track limits. I think 6 seconds must be the limit. It's not giving him any more. And where's he go? Really struggling is Pete on these hard tyres. And here we go, bang. And he has practically stopped in the middle of the track. That must seem like a forever for Pete, as both PM10 and Tesco go flying past. Wow, that is so unlucky for Pete. Then we've got Vane down in 11. Doesn't look like he's going to catch Pete, even though he served that 6 second penalty. So with just approaching the last 3 minutes to go, it is still PM10 out in front. Not quite having it all his own way like he did last week, but looking comfortable nevertheless. He can't relax though, can he, with Panic at the Tesco snapping at his heels, and he is definitely getting closer, his Panic at the Tesco. It is, well, just throw caution to the wind, Panic. You might as well just go for it. The second spot of the podium is pretty much secured. If we look at the map at the top right, we'll have a look. The little red triangle is Panic, and then Grahamid is all the way. Grahamid in third place actually, but he is a good, well, 3/4 of the track behind. So I think Panic at the Tesco could really, as I say, throw caution to the wind, take a few risks, cut a few corners to try and catch up to the back of PM10 Racing. We are just approaching the last couple of minutes of this race, so maybe 2 more laps. 2 more laps for these guys. PM10 currently holds the fastest lap at a 1:18.5, and that Panic at the Tesco is right up the back of PM10 now as they go into turn 1. So Panic at the Tesco really is turning up the heat. Let's jump on board with Panic, shall we? Now then, there is a back marker in the way, and PM10 has got to try and get by him. And this could possibly hold him up. I'm not quite sure who it is in front as PM10 takes a wider line through Coca-Cola up in towards the hairpin at turn 6. PM10 must be really looking in his mirrors now. Has got some defending to do. Panic at the Tesco, well, he's just going to chuck it in there, isn't he, if he wants to get this win down the hill into Dunlop Corner at turn 10. Oh no, and Panic at the Tesco went very wide. Let's just hope he doesn't pick a penalty up, because if he does, that's race over. The fuel light has started to flash. Oh, and Panic, oh, he got all squirrely. That's cost him a couple of tenths as they come around the final turn at turn 14 at Panasonic onto the start finish line. Now then, PM10 is picking up a bit of a slipstream from the back marker in front of him. We can't see, I can't see. Let's get out of the car so we can see what's going on. PM10, oh, it's Dandan, so PM10 picking up a bit of a slipstream from Dandan. That will help Panic at the Tesco getting a bit squirrely as he came out the final turn, but he really has got a push, hasn't he? There was, why not? Let's just go for it, he says. If he comes off, Dandan finally pulls over and lets PM10 through. So PM10 can continue on his way. We are down to the last few seconds. We might as well stick with these guys now, I think, all the way to the end, as Panic manages to get by Dandan as well. I'm not so sure that Panic at the Tesco is going to get the job done now on PM10. I think PM10 is just that little bit too far up the road, although it is only a few car lengths between the two of them. I cannot see PM10 make a mistake at this stage of the race. Panic has given it his all in these last few laps. Fantastic race from him. But it's just, oh, there we go. Just the pushing has cost him. He had to do it. Nobody can blame him. He really had to push and push hard if he wanted to take the win away from PM10. So bit of a spin. Well, as P White crossed the line and we missed that, I apologise for that. But we did want to stay with a race lead. A fantastic win for PM10 as he crosses the line. Panic at the Tesco gave it absolutely everything in these last few laps and will finish in second. So well done to him. Mohammed is going to cross the line in third. Now then, everybody else is crossing the line. P White has crossed fourth, Dan fifth, YT sixth. I think it is going to be Mohammed. No, it's going to be... It is going to be Vane that crosses the line next in 10th. Then, we're trying to find everybody where they are. It's Pete across the line in 11th. Rufus is going to cross the line in 7th. They're all finishing at different times. Where's Graham? Let's find him. As Graham comes across the line to take third spot on the podium, and a well-deserved sip of champagne for him. P White in fourth, Dan, YT, Rufus, Kian, and then it's short. So apologies we missed some of that, but everybody finishing at such different times. Fantastic racing from these guys. Another very convincing win for PM10. Panic at the Tesco did absolutely everything he could to get the win, but ended up second. Well done to him. Brilliant racing. Catch you all next week when we will be back for round 5. I'm not sure where we are, but I'm sure it's going to be good wherever we end up. So take